So welcome everyone. My name is Bri Rhea. This is our Movement Monday series for chair Pilates. So let's make sure that you are comfortable. Today we're going to need a pillow. If you can use a square pillow, that is going to serve you best. If you don't have any sort of pillow, you can use anything that's kind of squishy. So whether that's a ball, like a squishy ball itself, or you could honestly kind of roll clothes in on themselves. Like you got a little burrito of clothes and use that to push into as well. So there's options there if you don't have that pillow, but if you do have that pillow, definitely grab that for yourself. All right. So starting in a seated position with the pillow behind you. So you'll see me kind of switching my chair around here. I'm going to start with my side to you first. So with the pillow as far up against the chair as you can, really smush yourself into that pillow as much as you can. So you not only feel the support of the spine against the pillow, but you also feel how much pressure you have to put into your feet to push backwards. Okay. So with your hands onto your knees, try to lift the spine up as tall as you can. Now there's a difference between lifting up versus looking up. So we don't want to do anything with the neck, not yet at least. So I want you to lift the spine almost like you're like a letter J. You're scooping all of that energy up to the top of your letter J. And so during these moves today, they're going to look and feel or they're going to look rather easy. And I say that with big air quotes, but I want you to feel all of the body working. So while we're holding what this is called is an imprinted position. While we're holding this imprinted position, your legs are pushing super heavy down into the ground, almost as heavy as if you could slide your legs away from you. So keeping that pressure into the pillow is going to be what we're going after. That's what we're going after. Your arms, which are onto your thighs, maybe you can even feel the engagement of those legs moving. But now with those hands, think of pushing those legs away from you so that you can feel more of that abdominal engagement happening. So it's like you're trying to smush the legs into the chair a little bit more to help your body lift up taller. Now, while all this is happening, you're breathing. Try to do it in through the nose, out through the nose. If that feels a little too challenging, in through the nose, out through the mouth. All while keeping your shoulders down, neck is long, gaze is straight forward out in front of you. Okay, now relax the body. And you might have just been able to see it with my body. This is like my body in relaxed position versus what we're working towards to imprint that pillow and make it take the shape of the chair behind you. All right. So working through a little bit of isometric abs. So now I want you to put your hands right at the lower part of your belly, right under your belly button, kind of right at the top of where you would put where your hip pockets would be if you're wearing jeans. And so with the hands there, as you're pushing back into your pillow, lifting the spine tall, each exhale out through the nose or through the mouth, try to draw that core inwards and upwards. Now you've got that letter J scooping again. So everything's working. Those feet are pressing down heavy. The spine is lifting up tall and the core is engaging a little bit more each time you exhale. So it looks and sounds like this. And the hands are just there for you to feel the actual engagement happening. So a couple of clients of mine who have had C-sections before, they can't even feel this part of their body, but they can actually feel it with their fingertips, how the muscles engage. And there's a difference there, okay? So you can't really feel it if I'm touching you or if you even put an ice cube on that lower belly, but can you feel the abs drawing inward as well as upward? So your spine can get taller and taller and taller. Now go ahead and relax. All right. So as you're taking these moments here, remember, please listen to your body. Please have some water nearby if you don't already. Maybe go grab that if you need to. So we're still just warming up for the class today. As we do warm up, as you listen to your body, the goal after this class is to help you feel more invigorated, have more energy, or even that sense of elongation. Okay. So with that being said, I'm just going to remove my pillow for a moment here to give you a visual of what should not be happening. So that length of the spine is what we're going after. If you feel, or if the cue of pulling inward and upward with the core doesn't resonate with you, and instead you're doing this number, that's not going to lengthen the spine. That's actually shortening the spine. Think of like if somebody were on the top and bottom of you and they're squishing you into a little version of yourself. I want you to imagine that if you have two hands on the top and the bottom, you're pushing them away from each other while you have that strong engagement around the spine. Okay. All right. So now let's get into a little bit of movement. Okay. So feeling that pillow, imprinting it into the chair behind you, your hands are going to come down by your side. Now, the goal here is to make sure that when your arms lift up, that nothing else moves. Then sweep the arms down, back down behind you, or kind of next to you. If you can go behind you, if you have that room, go for it. So we get to find that range of motion of lifting the arms, mobilizing through the shoulders while we still stabilize through and around the spine. Okay. So I'm just going to remove this for a moment here. This is what we should not be doing. None of this and none of this. See how the spine changes shape? This is what we do not want. Instead, if I didn't have that pillow there behind me, everything else is just staying in that strong, long, tall shape. Okay. Now try that a couple more times. Let's go for 3 more. Feet are super heavy down into the mat underneath of you or into the ground underneath of you, keeping your head lifted tall away from the shoulders. And so especially when those arms lift up 2 more times, the shoulders stay away from the ears. Last and final time. All righty. Nice. Now, hands are down by your side. Place them onto your hips like you're telling somebody, I want to talk to your manager. With your hands onto your hips. I want you to throw everything that I just said about like keeping everything still. This is just to kind of learn that if we move where your hands are on your hips is actually called your pelvis. If we move the pelvis, we affect the whole rest of the chain of the spine. Okay. So if you were sitting on a clock or think a compass, I want you to tilt your pelvis forward towards the 12 o'clock and then curl yourself back towards the 6 o'clock. Okay. It's kind of hard to see because the pillow gives us that support. So from the side, it looks like we're going forward and then back, forward and back. Okay. Now sync it up with the breath. Inhale forward, exhale back. Now, the trick to this is still maintaining that length through the spine. So even though you feel like your spine might be getting a little shorter, can you still lift, lift, lift and curl back without sinking down? Okay. So yeah, like that's super easy to just curl back, roll forward, curl back, roll forward. But to be able to lift yourself and curl as much as you can, then the range of motion actually starts to become a lot smaller because then you're like, oh, wait, this limbo bar, this imaginary limbo bar that's above my head, I'm pulling away from it. I want to push up into it. So you can press your hands into your legs or into your knees and kind of get that little 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, north to south movement through the pelvis. Okay. So the idea here is that we're using the abdominal muscles to facilitate that movement back and forth, back and forth. Okay. You guys keep the pillow where it is. I'm just going to turn you towards the side here so that you can see what's happening next. Hands are going to still be onto your knees, but then allow yourself to move. So body side to side. So you're kind of like still smushing it back against your pillow, but letting a little bit of length happen between your rib and your hip. And a little bit more length happen between your rib and your hip. All right. In a moment, we're going to be sliding off to the side. So only one butt cheek is onto your chair. Okay. Now we try that. Okay. So from the front view, and I might even have to give you the back view in just a moment, but we're going to scooch ourselves towards the right side. Okay. And if scooching yourself towards the right side to where just your right cheek is off the chair is uncomfortable or intimidating, you're like, no way, not going to happen. You can hold underneath of the chair for support. If it feels like the chair is tipping, just put both cheeks back onto the chair and continue with those side leans. But now your right hand is onto your hip. I want you to feel your right hip drop down and then lift back up. So instead of moving your body, move your body if you're still both cheeks on the chair. But if one cheek is off, try to sink the cheek and then lift the cheek. lower down, and back up. Okay. So as I'm demoing this, that imaginary limbo bar is still above me, and I'm trying to create as much space along this right side of my spine. Okay. So anyone who has like lower back pain or even upper back pain, this can be a nice stretch through the side body. So if you're here with that right hip down, reach the right arm up and side bend into it deeper. If you're sitting on the chair still with both cheeks, do the same thing. Reach up and overhead. And so as the arm is reaching and the hip is sinking, you're creating this big banana shape. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Then lift yourself back up, give yourself a little scooch over through the center and off towards the left side. Okay. All right. Both feet are planted flat, still in line with the hips. Right hand is kind of tucked under that chair to help you from just toppling over if it feels like that's going to happen. Left hand is onto the hip. Now notice if this feels any different. For me, this is my tighter side. So it's really challenging for my body to just let itself sink down. Okay. And that's where it gets really, you have to turn or tune into your body to allow yourself, like, initiate, surrender to the stretch that you might be feeling if this is your tighter side. Now, sorry, if your right side was your tighter side, maybe come back to it after this class and see the difference, especially after all the movement we're going to be doing today. So now next time you sink that left hip down, keep it down, lift your left arm up and reach overhead and go slow here. There is definitely no rush. Take deep breaths in and notice how when you do breathe in, you feel a deeper stretch on that left side because the lungs are expanding out right here into that side body where you're probably feeling that stretch. One more big inhale. One more big exhale. Sink lower, lower, lower. Lift all the way back up. Slide yourself back through the center. Adjust your pillow if you need to. Adjust your body if you need to. Okay. All right. Start to press heavy into your feet. Imprint into the pillow behind you. Hands press heavy into the thighs. And so if this sort of, like, think of this as like we're coming home, back to starting to engage again. If you don't necessarily feel core engagement, like, put your hands even closer towards your hips and really super duper press without lifting your shoulders up towards your ears. That's the trick. Yeah. So super duper press and feel the core pressing your arms down without rolling. Okay. Stay tall. Now from here, I want you to nod your chin towards the chest and then inhale to lift it back up. A gentle nod forward and lift it back up. So now that pillow behind you is our sort of feedback tool. As you start to slide your hands forward, chin towards the chest, feel one bone at a time peeling away from your pillow. So we want to make sure that you are still connected at the low back. Then once your hands get towards the end of your thighs, right on top of your knees, curl back up, stacking tall, lifting even taller. Good. Let's go for 5 more. Exhaling all the way to the end. Inhale back up. 4 more. So you might feel how much the seat underneath of you, like your own seat muscles, are engaged to help you lift and lower. So pressing heavy into your feet. Last 2. It's like you're a candy cane with the shape of your body that you're turning yourself into, lifting up tall, straightening out that candy cane, and then rolling forward. All right, lift up. Good. Take a moment to relax. So you might feel yourself kind of pulling away from that pillow. Let it happen. Let your arms kind of dangle by your side. Give them a little shake here. Now we work through the rotation of your neck. So this one can be a little like tricky. Once you get the pattern down, you're golden. So I want you to start just with the hands first. Your right palm turns forward. Your left palm turns back. Okay. And then you rotate. Left palm forward, right palm back. Rotate again. Right palm forward, left palm back. Keep switching to each side. Okay. One is always forward. One is always back. Yeah. So now when your right palm turns forward, look towards the right. You don't have to look down towards the right just yet. I just want you to get into the rotation first. Then as you twist towards the left side with your gaze, turn the left palm forward. Repeat. Turn to the right, turn the palm forward, turn to the left, turn your left palm forward. All right, as you're doing this, close the eyes and notice which side may feel a little stickier than the other. And stickier meaning like, do you feel the resistance sooner? Like your body's kind of pushing back against you. Sometimes if you feel pain, that does not mean go past it. That's your body telling you, nope, don't go any further. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Okay, one more time to the right. You only go to that space if you are feeling any pain right before you feel that pain. Last one to the left. So now when you look to the right, still the same pattern, I want you to look down towards the right, kind of like sniff your deodorant for a little bit. And then lift your head up, going over, like your nose is tracing the shape of a rainbow. Lift up, rotate, look down. Lift up, rotate, look down. And so if it feels okay in your body, if you want to go a little higher, lifting your nose, making that rainbow super tall, maybe like the St. Louis archway, you lift up as you twist over. Okay. And now we repeat 3 more times each side, but with your arms out to the side. If raising them this high does not feel comfortable, just leave them down by your side. So now right palm is up, no longer forward, it's up. And the left palm is turning down and as far back behind you as you can. So maybe it might even look like a thumbs down. So look towards the right. Lift the gaze as you twist and look towards the left. And if looking up doesn't feel comfortable in the neck, just keep going from side to side. 2 more. 2, last one, good, and 1. All right, place the hands back down onto your lap, super heavy through the feet, press into the pillow behind you. Hands start to press heavy into the thighs as you roll the spine down, one bone, one piece, one segment at a time. Now notice if you might feel maybe a little looser than we did when the first time we went through this. Lifting up, inhaling, keep pushing heavy, heavy, heavy into your thighs. So we want to connect to not just the back of your arms, but also the back of your body there, right behind your armpits. 2 more times. We roll down, maybe feel those back of your armpits. If you don't feel it, sometimes it's very helpful to put one of your hands as you move your way down behind that armpit and say like, oh, wow, yeah, I see that. I feel that muscle. Lift back up. And then one more time, nodding forward, rolling down very slowly. And so pulling that core, like your belly button is jamming in towards that pillow, then lift back up. Awesome. All right. So this can be a little challenging, especially where we're seated on the chair. So if this is challenging for you, scoot your hips forward onto the edge of your chair so that you're in a more hinged position. So we open up the hip joint. We're getting ready to move some of the lower body here. So otherwise, well, let's all start here. We'll start here first. Your hands can press down into the chair, or maybe they need to hold underneath of the chair to support you. Figure out what feels best for you, but engaging through the core, maintaining that strength through the spine as we now lift one leg off of the floor underneath of us and then lower it back down. As you lift the opposite leg up and down, we go into our marching. We're going to do 6 each side. So we got 5 more. So if you notice you have maybe a little more challenge on one side versus the other, use your same hand. So if your right leg is lifting, the right hand comes under the thigh to kind of assist it up. Okay, keep your feet in a flexed foot position. So there's activity going all the way to the foot and then back down. All the way from hip to foot and then back down. And so we keep that 4-inch waistband engaged. And so maybe you can put your hands around your waist and feel that activity happening from right to left side. One more on the right. One more on the left. All right, now stay wherever you're at with your hips. Okay, so if you wanted to come back, well, we're going to do this like 2 times through with these 3 different leg movements. So if you wanted to challenge yourself and you're like, that was easy, push your hips back. I'll give you guys that option in just a moment. So try lifting your heels and then letting your knees sway from side to side while keeping your knees squeezed shut. And so while that's happening, you might feel your seat, your own booty kind of on your chair underneath of you, and then twisting towards the other side. So as that's happening, try not to, and this is like, it's almost impossible, but the goal here is to pull your hip back. So you're trying not to let it move. And then you rotate to the other side. Keep that, if you're going to the right side with your knees, your left hip back, 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 back. Don't let it move. Okay. Maybe putting your hands onto the hip that you're trying to keep still, and then rotate to the other side. Try that one more time to the left. Good. Lower the heels back down. If that felt a little too challenging with the heels, keep the heels down. But now we walk the feet back a little closer towards you if you're taking the heel lifted option. Otherwise, keep the heels right underneath of the knees. Okay, so now lift the heels. So now it's just the ball of the foot and the knees that are in line with each other. Now the goal on this one is to stabilize through the pelvis and the spine. So where you're at in this sort of hinge position, nothing else moves as both of your knees open and close. So I'm going to remove my pillow in a moment here to see, so you can see like what we're trying to avoid or see what we're trying to stabilize with. Okay. So notice how my spine not moving. Okay. If the knees open and you feel yourself kind of rocking forward, rocking back, that's not any core work at all. So keep that position of your body. 3, really opening against 2 invisible walls against your knees. 2. And then after that last one, lower those heels down. If you want to challenge yourself, lean yourself up against your pillow, scooching your hips back. So start at the beginning. Okay. So now with those hands either pressing into your chair or pulling under your chair, otherwise you stay at the edge of your chair into that hinge position. Try 6 more marches. Okay, and so notice how you have to super duper press through the opposite leg, the one that's staying grounded into the ground. Grounded into the ground, that makes sense. Let the other one fly up with control. Keep that foot flat as you lift and lower 2 more times. Maybe take the hands away. If your seat is still farther forward, try it without the hands. If you're pulling back and you still want that challenge, try it without the hands. Last one on the right. And then 1 more on the left. Okay, nice. Now, keeping the feet where they are, lift the heels up, keeping your left hip where it is, rotate so your knees reach towards the right side. It's not a very big movement. Let me move my chair so you guys can see. So from here, that's about as far as my legs go until I start to feel my left hip go with it. Okay, so not a big movement. And it's not about big movements in Pilates. It's about finding those tiny little muscles. This one's just 4 each side. These tiny little muscles that surround the spine, the hips, the inner thighs, to help us sit taller, stand taller, feel more energized, not lose as much steam throughout the day. And so you can do the things that you love. Yeah. 1 more to the right. And 1 more to the left. It takes a lot of focus. So now step your feet in a little closer towards your seat, lift your heels, otherwise keep them down. And from here, remember, all of this is about keeping the spine position. So we open the knees out wide and then close back in. So you might not be able to see it from the front view with me, but if I'm opening my knees and everything's just like spilling forward and then closing back in, that was an exaggeration of it, but that's what we're trying to avoid. 3 more times. You're still lifting up against that imaginary limbo bar, opening out against 2 imaginary walls on either side. So like push those walls apart. And then 1 more time. All right. Okay. Nice job. Lower those legs down. And 1 more time here to roll down. Well, there are going to be more roll downs, but kind of help to reset the spine. Now, this time I want you to try to roll all the way as far as you can towards the feet. And as you're rolling up, push into your feet. Push your low back behind you as much as you can and stack 1 bone at a time, lifting to the top, lifting to the top. Oh. Okay, nice. 1 last set here through legs. So with our leg slides back towards the side there. With our leg slides, I want you to, even if you're at the front of your chair, pull yourself back and sit and squish against your chair there. So leg slides, one leg is going to reach forward. And if you're sitting all the way back, you'll notice that like my leg's not going to go as far unless I want to try to lift it. And that's what we're trying to get into. Okay. Make sure you're in a flat foot position and then reach that leg down like it's moving through quicksand or molasses and drag it on the ground as much as you can. The other leg pushes away from you right to that point where you can feel the thigh push down into the chair and lift the leg up. Okay. So you're actually getting a little bit of support here with the chair as we're seated as far back onto the chair there with us. Okay. So now while we're doing this, that imaginary limbo bar, you're pushing it away from you. This is like probably the only time if you ever played limbo that you actually want to touch the bar. So touch that limbo bar, lift yourself up higher, push the leg down into your chair, pull the toes up towards the nose. Maybe leave your hands onto the thighs so you can feel how much they're working for you. Last two. Each side. Try to keep your gaze forward. Sometimes I gotta like catch myself. Sometimes these cues are for me. If you're looking down towards your feet, all that's telling you is that your spine might be out of alignment. So then lift yourself back up. Go ahead and roll the shoulders out a couple times here. Forward, down and then back, down and forward. All right. So now we're going to take the arms into a goalpost position. Okay. We just had football yesterday. So in that goalpost position, I'm just going to turn towards the side. Keep that pillow smushed up behind you. In that goalpost position, start to rotate your hands downward and then upwards. And this is, again, as always, in Pilates, trying to maintain that spine position. So I want you to notice as your hands go back, do your ribs start to pop forward? Okay, so if there is no pillow there, we're trying to keep everything still rather than kind of like twerking out onto the chair here. So keep everything strong and stable, drawing that navel up and in, up towards the heart and in, getting that letter J scoop. So now hold your goalpost arms. From that goalpost position, the pillow's back behind you. I want you to try to pull your hands, your head up, squeezing your shoulder blades together and then coming back forward to look forward and your hands come down. So we're just adding on to that movement. Your hands pull your upper chest up, and then exhale the ribs back down towards the hips. So even though your ribs are slightly popping here, like this is a great extension for your upper back. If you ever have any sort of like tension right between your shoulder blades, do that one more time where you're always just like, oh man, I wish I could like stretch that. You actually probably need to be a little bit stronger there so that your body, go ahead and lower the hands down so that at the end of the day, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just need a back massage or a neck massage. If we can build up the strength doing these like very simple, very gentle movements, then you're going to get stronger and stronger and you're not going to feel like you need a neck massage. Neck massages are always great. Shoulder massages are awesome, but you can't get them every day as much as we wish you could. All right. So we have a set of movements coming up called the 100. So there's a breath count to it and there's a movement to it. We're going to break it down while we're seated first with the breath. Okay. So it's an inhale through the nose. If you can, exhale through the nose. So it sounds like this, or the cueing is going to be like this. You inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The reason why it's called the 100 is because we're going to do that 100 counts. So we're technically only taking 10 breaths in. Does that make sense? All right. So when we do it with the count, and I might need to like pat my chest so you guys can hear it on the mic, but I'll clap my hands instead. What I want you to focus on with the breath is that you are inhaling for 5 counts, just a straight inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay. Now you're going to start to hear me count with the inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it actually goes by very quickly. 100 sounds like a lot, but when we're breathing at the 5 count, it actually goes by very fast. Okay, so get yourself ready, stack the spine up tall, get heavy through the feet. It's just the breath. Then I'll break down the movement for you. All right, so take a big inhale to get ready. A big exhale to clear out the lungs. Exhale, 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 exhale for as long as you can. Getting ready in 3, 2, 1. We inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 5. Exhale 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 5. One more. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So hopefully we got a little bit of that pattern underway. You're not going to hear me counting. You're not going to hear me clapping. I want you to keep that pattern for yourself. It's very like staccato count, okay? But it's not a staccato breath. So remember that. When you're moving, feet are heavy, spine is tall, your arms are out in front of you. If arms out in front feels too heavy for you, bring the arms down by your side. And it's a pretty big pump, okay, about 6 to 8 inches that I want you to pump the arms through. If we were laying down, which is where the like traditional 100 is done, you would feel as if you're trying to like dribble 2 big bouncy balls, or maybe like gently or sort of, I guess, vigorously patting a puddle. Okay. So while I'm talking, go ahead and like try it with your arms, with your shoulders. And if you feel sort of like any movement happening with the body, like anything like this is happening, we don't have any core engagement. So you're just trying to stay everything else still as your arms are pumping. And so this is also where the count comes in. Okay. So if you're inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a moment to rest. If that feels too fast, go at your own pace. Okay. I'll count to the 100 in my head. Okay. We'll get ourselves, I'll do the first 2, basically 20 counts at first, and then it's going to be 80 counts at our own pace. All right. What this does is it helps to strengthen the back body. Okay. Imagine you're pushing against something. Maybe feel how much that arm movement engages from the back. Like put your hand under and behind your armpit so you can feel yourself moving quickly, moving quickly, moving quickly. It also contracts and engages and strengthens the core while we work on our posture. So anytime that you've sort of like moved through the day and you're just like, oh, like you're trying to pick something up, oh, we're trying to lift something up. Can you lift something up with good posture? This kind of teaches the brain and the body to work together with itself. All right, enough of my soapbox spiel. Feet onto the ground, push heavy through the legs, push heavy back into the pillow. Your arms are at the height that work for you. I'm going to go about mid-range here. Take a big inhale to prepare. A big exhale to prepare. Then on your next inhale, we count to 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your own. Okay. All right. So that was 100 for me. If you were going at your pace, maybe if you went a little slower, you're finishing that up. Good job on practicing that 100. And this is something that like, I know it might feel silly, but practicing this can really start to hone in how much the core helps to stabilize when any sort of outside stimulus starts to affect the body. All right. So from there, hands are onto the knees, start to nod the chin towards the chest, push heavy into the feet, and imagine that as you're rolling down, your spine is lifting up. And I know that probably just sounded like a Dr. Seuss novel sort of quote, but
if you can pull the back of your spine up, you're going to feel more of that stretch across the rib cage, across the shoulder blades. And the strength through your core, go ahead and roll yourself back up, is helping to maintain that candy cane shape. We're going to do that one more time. Rolling down to roll back up. All right. Now, this next one, single leg circle or one leg circle, your hips have to shift all the way towards the edge of your chair. You bring your pillow back behind you, kind of like a little skateboard ramp, and you lean yourself back at a hinge here. Okay, so adjust yourself, adjust accordingly. Left foot is going to stay down onto the ground as hard and as stable as possible. Your hands, and depending on like how big or fluffy your pillow is, I have to bring mine under the pillow to kind of get myself to pull away. Okay, not lifting away, but to get that sort of engagement through the back body to open the chest. Right leg slides forward. Notice how like the chair is no longer in the way. So this is going to be more challenging. Point through the toes and start to circle the leg around, pointing, pointing, pointing. It's like you're tracing around the ring of fire without actually getting burnt. So you got to like really make sure you're very, very precise with your movements. Then we switch directions. Go 5 in the opposite direction. Inhale for a circle. Exhale for a circle. 3, 2, last one. Now, place the right leg back down, slide it in next to your left, stretch your left leg away from you, and start to lift and point it to a height that works for you. So if it's a tiny circle, that's fine. If it's a big circle, we want to make sure nothing else moves, not the spine, not the pelvis, not the hips, not the, I already said the spine, sorry, 2 more. Last one, switch directions, around, down, and up, around, down, and up, down, and up, last 2. And 1. Foot down, slide it in, push heavy through the leg there, and reach the right leg out again. Yes, again. So now as that right leg is out, turn the toes out. It's called an externally rotated position. So now I want you to start to wiggle your leg from side to side. And now we're only going to stay within the frame of your body. So within that hip or shoulder distance apart. So now when you come across the body, lift the leg up, down, around, across, up, down, around, across, up, down, around. And so while you're doing that, the foot stays in that turned out position, basically to a 2 o'clock. Switch directions, up, around, across, and down, up, around, across, and down. And you can like repeat those mantras to yourself. So you remember also which direction you're going. Place that foot down. Slide it back in, stretch your left leg out, turn the toes now to a 10 o'clock position. So left foot, 10 o'clock, lift it up and hold it up as you slide it back and forth in front of the right hip, in front of the left hip, in front of that right hip, and across and across. So if your leg was a tail, you're just sliding it back and forth or wagging it back and forth. Now it comes across, up, around, and down, across, up, around, and down, making sure you keep that 10 o'clock, it's going to stay 10 o'clock, not 11, not 12, 1 more in this direction, rotate in the opposite direction. Last 2 and final 1. Ooh, place that leg down, slide yourself back up into a seated position. Okay. Take a big breath there. Now this time with your arms down by your side, as you nod your chin toward your chest, reach your arms back behind you. Okay. So the more you go down, the more the hands reach back, allowing your front shoulders to get a nice stretch there. Lifting back up. So only going down to a point where you feel comfortable. So if you're starting to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall forward if I go any further, you've gone too far. Okay. Listen to your body. Reach back as you roll down. Let's try that 2 more times. Pulling the navel in and up as your hands reach back and really like reach. They're not just about lifting up. They're pulling back. Lift up and go back down 1 more time. And then bring yourself back up. Now we scooch ourselves forward again, back into that hinge position, booty towards the end of your chair. Okay. basically what we're working through, you guys, is the classical Pilates sequence, the mat introductory sequence. So if you, like Joseph Pilates was always very ingenious with how he got into things. So if he only had a chair, he'd find a way to make it work. So reach your feet slightly in front of your knees. And if you want to go long, you can go long. Okay. But slightly in front would be a great place to start. Remember your marches now. So place your hands under your pillow or under your hips to lift yourself away. Make sure you're not sinking into your pillow. So lift yourself away. There's activation through your arms. Remember you're marching and pull one leg in towards your chest. And so I want the same hand. So this is my right leg. Your same hand reaches towards either your ankle or your shin or your knee. Okay. If you can't grab those parts, grab behind the leg. Yeah. All of those options are there for you. This is called single leg stretch. So I want you to stay on the right side. As you stretch it away from you, try not to touch the ground and then pull it back in. Reach away from you, pull it back in. And remember, while you're doing this, make sure that you're not collapsing through the spine or trying to pull yourself towards the knee. Everything stays in the same position. Last 3 here. Last 2 here. Last 1. Right foot goes down slightly in front of your knee. Right hand goes down as the left hand gets ready to pull that left leg back. Remember your options. Behind the leg, okay, and get that foot as close to the seat as you can. Okay, reach it away from you, either onto or in front of the knee, or in front of the shin, or in front of the ankle. So traditionally, instead of single leg stretch, this was actually called single leg press. So press that leg in so you can get that deeper core engagement. Yeah, last 2. And final 1. Both legs down. Take a moment there to just let your arms hang out to the side and your head fall back. If you need that support, hands into the back of your head. All right, get yourself back into that position. Hands are down or slightly behind your seat, under your pillow. And walk the feet in now back underneath of your knees. Lift your heels up, connect them together. So you've got a little V position through your feet there. Your heels are together, but your toes are apart and your knees are about shoulder or hip distance apart. Start to lower and lift those heels up and down so that your knees start to come in a little closer towards your chest. Maintain this Pilates V position. So right foot, 2 o'clock, left foot, 10 o'clock on that clock face position. Soften your shoulders, lift the head, and now keep the heels lifted and we alternate now. Alternate. I want you to just focus on the leg movement first for the first 3. So 2 more, 2. And if you need to leave the heels down, last 1, leave the heels down and 1. Now continue alternating, but now same arm pulls in, put it back down. Same arm pulls in, put it back down. 2 more each side. Last 1 each side. And place both feet, both heels back down. Stay in this position, but try your best to roll yourself forward towards the ends of your knees with your hands, rolling into that spine position, making sure it doesn't feel like you're collapsing, but that you are stretching the spine. Now, without lifting yourself back onto the pillow, lift yourself up tall. So you're at the edge of your seat. So we shouldn't be really touching anything behind us now. Now, when I say tall, make sure it's not arching tall, but pulling those ribs back in. Good. All right. So now step the legs a little further away from you and a little wider than hip distance apart. A little further away, a little wider than hip distance apart. We're coming into a movement called saw. Okay. So remember when our arms were out to the side and we were kind of playing around with the palm up, palm down. Okay. Now the palm that is down, that hand always goes behind you. So now let's start with our twists here. So with your palm that's down, so that's my left hand that I'm demoing for you. My right arm is up and I'm twisting towards the left. You come back through center. Your right palm starts to turn down as your left palm starts to turn up. And you rotate, you rotate, you rotate. Inhale when you come through center. Exhale like you're wringing out a wet towel. Inhale, you come back through center. Exhale, wring out a wet washcloth. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale to the left. One more time. Rotate right palm down, twist to the right. Left palm up. All right, so now come back to center, kind of give yourself maybe a little shoulder shimmy. If that bothers the shoulders at all, you can take the hands onto your shoulders and think of twisting with your elbows. And that kind of gives us a cue of like, am I twisting from my arm or am I twisting from my spine? And we want to keep those elbows as far away from each other as we can, okay? So now with saw, if it feels like you're too far on the edge of your seat, by all means, come back, take a seat further onto your chair. But with saw, the goal is to saw off your pinky toe with the opposite pinky finger. Okay. Now it's okay. We're not going to be able to reach the foot in this seated position, but that's where I want that line of energy to go. Okay. So with your arms out to the side, we're going to go towards the left first. So that means your left palm turns down. Remember, if you have any problems with the shoulders, hands onto your shoulders. But your left palm turns down and you rotate towards the left, then reach down towards your left toes, left toes, left toes. As your left hand reaches back behind you, then you curl back up, open back up. Yes, you drop something in the cracks of your car. You got to reach down, get it out of the depths in between the seat cushions and lift it back up. Rotate and reach. The goal with this rotation is to keep the opposite hip that you're twisting from. So we twist to the right, your left hip stays anchored super heavy into the chair, lift back up. So that one more time each side, rolling forward and down, right hip anchored. You got super glue. It's not even super glue. It's gorilla glue under your left butt cheek now. Reach it, reach it, reach it. Sink it, sink it, sink it, and then lift back up. Whew. Okay, so that was saw. Good job. Roll out your shoulders if you need to. Get that extra little shimmy there from side to side, front and back. Okay, and we're going to scooch ourselves again back over towards the right side of your chair. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, stay on the middle of your chair. You should still be able to reach that leg off to the side. Now, I did forget to mention, I'm sorry, at the beginning of the class, please make sure you have some room off to the side. If you don't, you can reach your right leg sort of at a diagonal angle in front of you. Okay, those are your options there. But we want to have that leg, if we were like a Pop-Tart in a toaster slot, we want leg, hips, heart, and head all in line here. Okay. So we're in that toaster slot. We've got that pillow behind us. Push it back. So now you start to scoot yourself back into that pillow. Your left hand is down onto the chair. We reach that right arm out to the side over your right leg. Your left elbow will bend as you reach up and overhead. And as you're reaching overhead, check to make sure that your right leg is staying down, right foot is staying down onto the ground. Lift back up, and we make it a little more dynamic. Exhale, overhead. Inhale to pull back up. 3 more. Good. Last 2. And then final 1. Like we're at a really good concert and like everyone's just going the same direction at the same time. So now you kind of start to lift your right heel. So just your toes are onto the ground there. If you need a little bit of extra support, your left foot slides more towards the right side. Okay. If you have any issues with hips, just sit this one out, take some stretches that feel good for your body. Left hand is still anchored onto the chair. You start to pull your body towards the left and to the point where it feels like your right leg is ready to just float away from the ground. And it might feel like you're kind of having to pull underneath of the chair. We're just here for 5. So give me 3 more. 2 more. There you go. Nice. Last one. Okay. Foot goes back down, slide it back forward. You scooch off towards the left side. Keep smushing into that pillow. You're not even going to have a pillow anymore. It's just going to be like a flat square. It's just going to be like a nice, colorful, well, in my case, it's not very colorful, but a nice little quilt
little quilted square by like 12 inches. All right, once you're in that position, right hand stays onto the chair, left arm exhales up and overhead. Inhale back up. So feel how that stretch not only comes between armpit and hip, but it might even go down the whole leg, lifting all the way back up and reaching all the way back down. Can you make sure that as you're sliding along that pillow is still getting smushed by all of that core engagement? Last one here, okay? So now you start to slide that right leg towards the left a little bit. Maybe you can kind of scooch onto the side of your hip if that feels okay for you. A little bit more pressure on the right hand to lean your body towards the right side. So your left leg starts to feel lighter and lighter, like a feather, 5 times there. Pulling that leg up like it's on a little puppet string for 3, 2, and 1. Leg goes down, body comes up, slide it forward. And now this time we get ready to bring the pillow in front of us. So now we're actually kind of using it to strengthen through the legs. Yeah. So after we just like kind of squished it, I want you to like puff it up a little bit. So there's a little bit more cushion there. And we're going to put it on the ground. So I'm going to show you from the side how this looks. Tilt this down a little bit. There we go. All right. So now essentially working through a series called footwork. Put your toes onto the middle of your pillow and your heels are together into that V shape called a Pilates V position. Yeah. Now that we don't have the pillow back behind you anymore, I want you to stay right there in space, not leaning up against your chair. You can if you need to get the support, but your goal is to challenge yourself. If this feels too challenging, lean it back. So now with your heels lifted, push down and away and then pull back in. If your pillow slides, that's even better. I've got carpet and a mat underneath of me. So it's kind of just like, it's kind of rolling the pillow when I push it away. Okay. If you need to, your hands go down onto the chair. My chair is like very squeaky right now. I hope you don't hear that. I'll try for 3 more. Last 2, push the pillow, pull the pillow. Last 1. Okay. All right. Now from there, your feet are flat onto the pillow. Everything is together, feet together, knees together, thighs together. And it's okay if you're kind of more bow-legged or if you're more knock-kneed, just come into a position that feels like majority of your leg is touching. So if you're knock-kneed, it's okay if your feet are apart. If you're more bow-legged, it's okay if your knees are apart as long as your feet and somewhat of your inner thighs, maybe a little bit of that is touching. Stay tall, stay strong. As you press that pillow away, ooh, that really rolled away from me. And then pull it back in. Oh no. Then press it away. Oh, that works. And pull it back in. So you can see the sort of bubbling that's happening through my mat. That's the amount of energy that I want you to have. As you push away, that's your thighs. As you pull back in, that's your hamstrings. Now, this is a very, it's a very grip. I thought I had sort of grips under this rug, but I guess not. 2 more, pull, 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 reach away, and last 1. Whew, okay, now just your heels. So if you need to adjust your pillow, like I clearly need to, your heels are down and your toes are pulling up. So this helps us to strengthen the front of your shin. There is a muscle there, and those muscles help us to keep from like tripping over your toes. All right, so keep those toes pulled up, keep the knees together, squeezing through the inner thighs there. As you press away, pull back in, press away, pull back in. Ooh. So even though you probably don't see as much movement happening on my end of things, except my chair probably sounds like it's, oh my gosh. If you don't see a lot of movement happening, that doesn't mean I'm not working as hard. It just means that I don't have as much surface area onto the pillow. So it won't move as far. Last 2 and 1. All right, go ahead and give your legs, almost think of like a cat, like making biscuits. If you can march in place and that feels okay for you, like just march and feel that pillow sort of getting more of its shape back.
All right, so that was footwork. Let's try to find a position where our toes are together, back again onto, or sorry, your heels are together, your toes are back onto the pillow. And if you can, try to get that pillow, goodness gracious, without moving the rug, get your pillow in as close to you as you can. Okay, so your toes are as close to you as you can. Your heels are closer towards your seat. Okay, and with your hands, put them onto the front of your chair space. So you're starting to look down into your belly. Okay, so your chin is towards your chest, but not squeezing. If there was a lemon there, you wouldn't make any lemonade. Heels are squeezing together, really engaging and pushing that pillow away from you. So now relax that pillow and then push into the pillow. Again, this is a very subtle movement, but with your hands, press heavy, heavy, heavy into your chair so you can feel the back of your arms, the back of your body there, really working to maintain this C curve shape position. So this is called stomach massage, but it's a really great way to help to lengthen the back body, and stomach massage, I guess, to, massage out the internal organs in the stomach. Now lift yourself up, but keep your feet where they are. If you can, reach your hands back behind you for the edges of your chair. If that doesn't feel good, try just holding your hands back or onto even the seat of your chair. Now we do that another 5 times to press into the pillow and then relax away from the pillow. Press into the pillow, inhale, relax, press. Last 2. And 1. Foot position does not change, but your arm position does. You reach forward at a high diagonal here. 5 more here to pull away from the pillow and push into that pillow. So try to think of your hands pressing down into a big, huge stability ball. You're pushing towards the earth without actually using or losing that connection. Last 2. Reaching forward. Last 1. Whew, lower those arms down. Maybe if you need to, cat and cow through the spine a couple times. All right, now, if you need to, or if you can, reach down or slide your pillow away from you. We're still on the edge of your chair. Okay, so if you can get your leg long enough with your foot hiding under your pillow, maybe you need to even put the pillow onto your foot there. It's not really going to be heavy enough to give us that counterweight, but it's as if you could feel like 100-pound weight on your foot holding you in place there. Okay. All right. So now from there, keep your left foot anchored. Your arms are reaching forward, and you're going to remember that limbo bar that's above you. Start to round the spine back. So from the bottom of your spine this time, think of your pelvis like a wheel. You roll the wheel backwards as your arms stay forward. Lift back up, inhale, and roll back down, pulling that navel in and up, in and up, in and up, and then lifting back up. So if somebody was like rolling a wheel of barbed wire towards your stomach, you would want to pull away from it. Now switch, stretch your left leg underneath of that pillow. Bring your right foot towards the ground and do that 3 more times. Rounding, lifting back up. Now, while we do this one leg, traditionally it's done both legs, but do you notice any sort of stretch that might be happening more on one side versus the other? Last time, and it's okay if you don't. These can be very subtle. Now we try it with both legs underneath of that pillow. Okay. And you round yourself back, push heavy into your feet into the ground to roll your spine, and then lift your spine. And remember that it's not just you're collapsing back and then lifting up. We're rolling back in control. So if somebody just took a snapshot, they'd be like, okay, I got the picture, but you're like, I can hold this. I could stay here forever. Maybe not forever, but that would be the goal. Okay, roll back, stay back, turn the thumbs up, palms in, legs are super strong, arms are super strong, core is super strong. Lift one arm up, lower back down. The other arm up, lower back down. Think ribs to hips. So remember what we practiced at the beginning, when your arms were moving, nothing else moved. One more on the right, one more on the left to do both arms up and down. Ooh, notice how much more challenging that is. Both arms up and down 2 more times. Last time. Roll yourself forward. If it feels like you need to scoot yourself back first, scoot yourself back, but reach towards that pillow or towards the feet or toes. Feel the stretch along the spine, maybe a little bit into the legs, but you're trying to keep your tailbone heavy so you feel more of that low to mid back stretch. Stacking the spine back up, finishing here with one more movement. Both legs, both arms are long as you hinge your body backwards. Now pull forward. Inhale, 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 exhale it forward. There's a string on the top of your head, pulling you back, pulling you back, pulling you back, and then exhaling you back forward. One more final time, and then bring it forward. Woo. All right, slide those feet back in. Pull your pillow back in and place your feet back onto the pillow. We finish with a little bit of running and a pelvic tilt. So with your legs here in this position, hip distance apart from there, lift one heel as the other heel stays down and switch, switch, switch. So maybe again, sort of like a cat making biscuits into your pillow. You feel one heel lifting as the other heel really presses down into your mat. Now try to do this without letting your body like sway side to side. Still working here. Just because we're towards the end doesn't mean like, oh, okay, now this is good. This is nice. Yeah. So now step your feet with your heels on, your toes off of your pillow. And so that's again why we chose a square pillow. If it's okay, if you didn't have one, take the wider shape of your pillow with your heels there. Your hands go down behind you, and I want you to scooch back so you can lean into your chair. Okay, so there's going to be some pressure being put into your hands. If you have wrist problems or shoulder problems, just avoid the lift of your pelvis. Instead, I just want you to scoop. So everyone's going to scoop, almost like you're trying to get your low back flat onto the chair so that we can feel a really nice stretch happening. And as you exhale, release out of it. Take the inhale to pull yourself back into it. Okay, so core is engaged, pulling back into it. And then exhale away from it. So if this feels good and your shoulders, your wrists, you're A-okay to do this next movement, you curl into it on the inhale. You press down into your hands to lift and scoop your hips more. So there's just like a little bit of lift away from the chair, and then roll yourself back down. Okay, try that 2 more times. Curl yourself away, really press into the feet, and then lower back down. You're really trying to get your tailbone to come up between the legs as much as you can. And you lower back down, stack the spine back tall, and you can place that pillow off to the side. Take a drink of water, give yourself a pat on the back. We did it, you guys. Good job making it through the whole class. All righty. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. And yeah, I love to like kind of stay after for a little bit and see how everyone's doing. Or just give me like a thumbs up or yeah, goodbye wave. Nice job today. It was good seeing everyone again.